All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to talk about the incredible legacy of chemist Alexander Shulgin, but maybe not in the way you'd think. We're looking at how his life's work is being radically reimagined, like right now.
So take a look at this. This page from one of Shulgin's notebooks, it pretty much sums up our whole story today. You see, these historical records, these maps of consciousness, they aren't just sitting on a shelf collecting dust. They're being actively used as a launch pad to explore some completely new territory.
So here's the plan. We'll start with the man himself, Sasha Shulgin, then dive into the massive digital archive of his work. From there, we'll hone in on a single lost molecule to see what it can tell us. And then, things get interesting. We'll see how all that history is fueling a futuristic project called Babel, a project that, believe it or not, leads us straight to a hummingbird. Let's do it.
Okay, so first things first, you gotta understand the foundation. Alexander Sasha Shulgin, often called the godfather of psychedelics, was a biochemist who spent decades systematically creating and studying psychoactive compounds. The man was a true pioneer. Now, if you've heard of Shulgin, you've probably heard of his two legendary books, PIHKL and TIHKL. And these were not your average chemistry textbooks. No way. They were wild, part memoir, part cookbook for molecules, and part trip report, all rolled into one. They literally mapped out the connections between chemical structures and the inner landscapes of the mind for the whole world to see.
But here's the thing. Those books, they were just the polished, final version. What we're digging into today is the raw material, the source code they were built from. Shulgin's own handwritten lab notebooks, which are now open to the world.
And what's so incredible about this archive is just how raw it is. We're talking notes that go all the way back to 1960. You've got his famous hand-drawn molecule sketches, he cheekily called them dirty pictures, plus the direct, unfiltered reports from his research group. This entire treasure trove was painstakingly digitized by Arrowhead and Team Shulgin, turning a mountain of paper into searchable data.
I mean, you really have to appreciate the sheer scale of this work. Just to give you a sense of it, these are the first 2 volumes of his pharmacology notes. This alone covers 20 years of tireless, methodical work, from 1960 all the way to 1980.
And then, get this. His pace just picks up like crazy. Here are volumes 3 and 4. They cover just 2 years, from 1980 to 82. The dedication is just immense. Every single page is a testament to a mind that was just relentlessly charting the unknown. Okay, so with this mountain of data, how do you even begin to grasp it? Let's do this. Let's zoom way in on just one single entry. You could call it an undiscovered gem, but maybe not for the reason you think. And here it is. It's a sketch of a molecule called 4-thioscaline, drawn by Shulgin himself back in 1981. This is one of hundreds upon hundreds of these little drawings. Each one represents a question, an experiment, a possibility. But then you read his notes on it and, well, it's kind of a dud. Definitely off baseline, but maybe not drug. That's it. It's so brief, so inconclusive. And it's a perfect reminder that not every path he took led to some huge discovery. A lot of them were just whispers or dead ends. And that right there is the twist. That's the key to this whole thing. The real gem wasn't this one molecule that didn't do much. The gem is that the note exists at all. It's the raw data of the hits and the misses. Because in research, knowing what doesn't work can be just as important as knowing what does. That complete data set, that's the real treasure he left behind.
So, okay, if the real treasure isn't one magic molecule, but the entire archive, what do you do with that? Well, this is where our story takes a hard left turn. A modern research group is using that exact data, not just to find things Shulgin missed, but to build something he might never have even imagined. They have a name for it: cognitive terraforming. Let me try to break that down. It's like, instead of just wandering around a new continent hoping to find something cool, you're 3D printing a key for a very specific lock you've already found in the brain. The goal is to design new substances for targeted purposes. It's a shift from discovery to intentional design. And where do you think they're getting the schematics for this? You guessed it, Shulgin's notebooks. They're the crucial starting point, the foundational blueprint for these new Babel compounds. His legacy isn't some dusty museum piece, it's an active construction site.
So what's the end result of all this? You might expect more chemical formulas, right? Well, no. It gets weirder. It leads to something much more philosophical, a text that uses the hummingbird as a metaphor for a totally new kind of consciousness.
They're chasing what one text calls a consciousness calibrated not in epochs, but in the instantaneous. So it's all about hyperspeed, hyper-awareness, a radical kind of presence. But why a hummingbird? What's that about?
Well, it all comes down to this one little number, 4.2%. It might not seem like much, but that's the hummingbird's brain-to-body mass ratio. And this one biological fact anchors their whole philosophical vision in the real world.
And this chart just lays it all out, plain and simple. A hummingbird's brain is, proportionally, twice the size of a human's. It's a tiny, high-speed biological computer, engineered for the brutal efficiency of survival, not for quiet, deep thought.
And it's not just about raw horsepower. It's about how that brain is wired. You see, most animals are built to detect threats from the past, from what's sneaking up behind them. The hummingbird, though, operates in a constant 360-degree present. Its brain responds equally to high-speed movement from any direction at any time. And that's how we loop all the way back. Shulgin's painstaking, methodical, and deeply human map of the mind is now the foundation for exploring these radical, almost post-human ideas about the absolute limits of speed, perception, and maybe even evolution itself.
So it all leaves you with this one big question, right? Sasha Shulgin created this incredible map, and he shared it with the world. Now that we have the power to not just read that map, but to actually redraw it, who's responsible for the new places we decide to go?